This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Y'all, just stop. Get real.
Welcome to DBL. We made it halfway through the week, y'all.
Yes.
Wait, halfway? It's Wednesday, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it
It's
is,
Wednesday.
girls. It's half of Wednesday, so.
Yeah, okay. So like a third. I'm not great with math. All right, but I do know this math. Last night, in front of a 12,000 person crowd in Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris and her pick for VP, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, took the stage at their very first rally together.
That had nothing to do with math.
The 12,000 was a number.
That was a number.
Okay. After thanking Harris for putting her trust in him, Walz actually went on the offensive. Let's all take a look at what he had to say.
I just have to say it. You know it, you feel it. These guys are creepy and yes, just weird as hell. That's what you see. That's what you see. He drove our economy into the ground. And make no mistake, violent crime was up under Donald Trump. That's not even counting the crimes he committed. Like all regular people I grew up with in the heartland, J.D. studied at Yale, had his career funded by Silicon Valley billionaires, and then wrote a bestseller trashing that community. Come on! That's not what middle America is. And I gotta tell you, I can't wait to debate the guy. That is, if he's willing to get off the couch and show up. So.
Okay, that joke, if you didn't get it, was in reference to a false viral rumor about J.D. Vance and a couch. That's all we're going to say. So, what do you all think of Harris?
That's even creepier. That's all you're going to say.
I know. That's all I'm going to say. What do we all think of Harris's pick now that we're seeing him in action? Anyone want to jump in?
Sam, you said something while the SOT was running.
I said, sounds like a real football coach.
Yes.
You know, motivating, says it like it is, whether you want to hear it or not. And there's an authenticity there that I think is what a lot of people are craving. Another thing that the Democrats usually don't do well, and Erica, you've spoken about this a lot, and then I'll let you take it away, is the fact that they are usually on the sidelines blowing bubbles while the Republicans are dunking, right? When it comes to being fiery.
We're always defensive.
Right. And so we are seeing this huge shift in how the Democrats are going to decide to run on this campaign. So this is going to be interesting, these next 90
Is everybody
days.
cool with the bubbles dunking metaphor?
I liked it, actually. I thought it was quite visceral.
Okay.
I actually liked it. I liked it.
Always the kids who were like on the sides, like blowing bubbles or doing cartwheels.
There were kids like that in gym.
Yeah.
I used to look at them like, how are you not involved in this touch football game?
I was doing this.
I did cartwheels
I'm not gonna
as
lie.
well.
I was the cartwheel kid.
Tell me about Coach Walz. What do you feel?
I'm liking the way the strategy is sort of unfolding, if you will. We've seen Kamala Harris be fiery, but it's in response. It's in defense. This gives her an opportunity to keep her hands clean by having him out there saying the things that that a lot of people on this side of the equation
He can be the dog attacking.
feeling.
Yep.
So she doesn't necessarily have to go on that type of offense because he's providing that. It's also what I feel like what's been missing a lot that Trump really does well is he speaks very simply.
Yeah, colloquially.
Yes.
Colloquially.
And I feel like
An example of simplicity over here.
Yeah, like he speaks to someone, like he speaks to everyone, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like it's very basic speech, right? Walz is speaking in everyday language.
Yeah.
He's not speaking above people's heads. And I think sometimes when we're trying to be very serious and want to be taken seriously, then all of these words and things, like people are just like, just tell me what it is. And I feel like he does that.
Yeah, folksy dad. That's the guy. He's the uncle you want to hang out with, really. Al, I actually want to get your take on this. It's about abortion, but I think it's important. This is what he had to say about abortion after Roe v. Wade was codified. I don't know if you know. I'm sorry, Roe v. Wade was overturned. Minnesota codified abortion rights, and this is what he had to say about it at that rally. Go ahead.
In Minnesota, we respect our neighbors and their personal choices that they make. Even if we wouldn't make the same choice for ourselves, there's a golden rule. Mind your own damn business.
That to me is the slogan he's going to be using. Mind your own damn business. It's colloquial, it's neighborly, I don't want to bother you. It's also what Republicans wanted. Get him out of my business, and now they're interfering with books and abortions. What do you feel about his take on that and codifying abortion rights?
Well, you know, when you said, you kind of misspoke and you said codify and then you said overturn.
Yeah.
I feel like we made an example of what you were talking about, Erica, with talking over people's head. Tell everybody what codify means in regular folks.
It's in law that in Minnesota you cannot be denied an abortion because he himself, the governor, and the legislation made that a priority. And that is amazing. Every state can do that, and he did it first.
Being able to speak simply in a way that people understand is a big deal.
You're totally
and
right.
The more I listen to Walz and Harris, you know what I keep thinking is how far we are away from Merrick Garland and all those kind of Democrats that literally should be in a wax museum.
You're right.
What we don't understand,
Pelosi.
yes,
Yeah.
they
Although
are,
Pelosi
and that
helped
is
us
not a
ticket.
shot against age. That is a shot against how they, you know, do business. That kind of politics is over. They had no defense for Donald Trump. They had no defense for a candidate insulting your wife or your dress. And so they all sat there and they're like, I'm scared. But what they didn't realize is that kind of opponent is going to grow from the dirt. Democrats that we're seeing now, these kind of Democrats, you didn't hear these kinds of Democrats even 2-3 years ago. And I think the Republicans are directly responsible for that. Whether they look at it as a good thing or a bad thing, their new politics has created Democratic new politics.
Yeah, that's right. You got to speak back. I do want to hear about how Republicans are responding to Walz. One of the main lines of attack is to characterize him as extreme far-left liberal. So here's what J.D. Vance said about Walz and Harris on Fox News last night. Let's take a listen.
This decision, selecting Tim Walz, is another sign that she doesn't care what the American people think. She is only in this to obey the far left radicals within her own party. It's a really shameful moment for Kamala Harris. You know, Tim Walz has all of these things we can point to. He's a really far left candidate. He's a really far left governor. But the fact that Kamala Harris selected him, I think shows really, really poor judgment and that she doesn't have what it takes to be president of the United States.
So I also just want to make sure this is said. People are also upset about the way he handled the Black Lives Matter riots and that he was too slow to act, interference into a police shooting case, pandemic relief fraud investigation. He did have a DUI arrest. He has stopped drinking since then. That was in 1995. But the big right-wing talking point right now is Tampon Tim. I don't know if you guys know this. He did allow tampons and menstrual products to be free of charge for any public school child from 4th to 12th grade. Now, that includes boys' bathrooms, and that has caused a lot of people on the other side to feel uncomfortable and feel a little pushed towards that wokeism, if you will. And I want to get that out.
Healthcare officials in school districts will recommend that because you're supposed to separate a child's health from politics. So if you want to make it political, we can,
Sure.
but at the end of the day, when you have local superintendents working with people that dedicate their entire lives to the health of the students, they make decisions like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I appreciate the free
We
products.
got to go,
if
but
were-
I taught 7th grade, and this is a very necessary thing. Not everybody has access to it. I have direct
knowledge of
yes.
that, absolutely.
So, yes.
Personally, I did too. I absolutely understand
Yes.
that. Coming up on DBL, we're going to talk about Biles-Skinner calling for an end to online threats and bullying with her feud among Simone Biles. Plus, our interview with McSteamy himself. Hello, Eric Dane. He's telling us about his craziest Grey's Anatomy fan encounter. Welcome back to DBL. All right, there were some big wins for the U.S. yesterday at the Olympics. U.S. women's soccer beat Germany 1-0. Come on, give it up. This is our country, people. The men's basketball team routed Brazil 122-87.
Yes.
Is routed mean like
I didn't know what routed meant.
Me neither.
It just means that you really beat
Blew
the
it
other
out.
team
It was a
badly.
rout.
Yes.
It was a rout. Okay, Gabby Thomas got her
this was
long-awaited
incredible.
gold medal in the women's 200 meter. She's also at Harvard for neurobiology.
It's unbelievable.
It's ridiculous.
I know.
And in a truly incredible race, American Cole Hawker, this was insane, came from behind to win the men's 1,500 meter race. It was a long shot and he did it. But we also have an update on a story we talked about last week, the feud between Simone Biles and her former teammate, Biles-Skinner. If you remember, she criticized some of the year's women's gymnastics team. Now Skinner has posted a video on Instagram calling on Simone's fans to stop harassing her. Watch.
I sincerely hope that this topic wouldn't need to be revisited, but unfortunately things have really gotten out of hand lately, and it's one thing to disagree with me regarding something I have said or a point I was trying to make, but it's something else entirely when that turns into cyberbullying or even worse. Watching people cheer on the bullying, which has led to threats of physical harm to me, my husband, and our daughter, is disgusting.
Okay, so she also asked Simone to, quote, directly and publicly put a stop to the bullying. I kind of have mixed feelings, y'all.
What are you thinking?
I feel like she started it. And now she wants it finished. But, like, don't start it. Is that terrible?
No, I think that you're not alone in your feelings, but where I think of this story differently, and I'm not excusing anything that she had said about the work ethic of this current Olympic team, because I believe that was wrong. But a thing that we talked about before is all the trauma that she and Simone Biles, under a specific coach,
Marta, that's right.
That whole camp that Simone and Michaela went to has been shut down because of their abuse, traumatic abuse. So given the fact, and not even to mention Larry Nassar as well. So just, I think there's a lot of trauma here, and some people process trauma differently. And I just think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done therapeutically.
That's a way more nuanced take than my sixth grade. You are too, so I apologize.
I actually appreciate you saying that, Tori, because I feel like when we get to this part of the equation, where someone has started something and someone responds and they didn't anticipate that the response was going to be greater than the fire that they started, then it automatically makes the person who started it the victim.
Right.
And I don't appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I feel like, you know, I don't think that, let me just be very clear, bullying, whether you're an adult or child, death threats is never going to be okay.
Totally.
But we've all been in situations, I know that for me, I have to very check myself, because I know that my words can be very powerful. I know my response can be very powerful. And sometimes people start things with me that they cannot finish.
Right.
And if I respond, I have to be very mindful, although they gave me no grace.
Sure. They weren't careful. Right.
How I'm going to respond, because I don't want to eviscerate someone for making a poor choice. But if you respond in order to defend yourself and to rectify the situation, you don't automatically become the villain, and they don't automatically become the victim.
I agree.
So I understand what's happening here, and it seems very unfair to her, but as I said before, I feel like this is far deeper than what we actually know.
Also, to Erica's point, Simone Biles stood up for her teammates.
Right.
Because if you remember that initial conversation, Michaela said everyone but Simone, because they had that history with Marta. But
that's a great point.
Sad. I just look at the whole situation. It's sad.
And I just want to say, someone wrote as Tori 12. I agree with you. She started. You're right. That seemed a little visceral and primitive.
No, it's how you felt. And you don't have to be 12 to feel that way. Perfectly fine human adults can feel like don't start none, won't be none, and some people should heed that warning.
Okay, heed it, people. Heed it. We'll be right back. I hope they heed it. Woo.
Welcome back. You know him from his iconic roles as Dr. Mark Sloan on Grey's Anatomy and Cal Jacobs in Euphoria. Now, Eric Dane is starring in a new action-packed movie about the exciting and dangerous world of motorcycle racing. Earlier, we talked to him all about it. Check it out.
Please welcome to the show, Eric Dane.
Yes.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Eric, we're doing great. Great to meet you. Let's jump right in because in this movie, your character teaches his son how to race motorcycles. So did you ever ride before shooting this? I had an audition way back in the day and I pretended I knew how to ride a motorcycle, but I didn't get it because I didn't know how.
Was that in your special skills section right next to playing the trumpet and riding horses?
Juggling all of it.
Yeah. No, I had ridden motorcycles a lot. I owned a few, which I sold when my firstborn came into this world. But I love riding bikes. And had a great time taking advantage of however much time I could sit on the bike as possible.
In this movie and in Euphoria, you play a dad that has a strained relationship with his kid, really kind of every dad's nightmare. So as a father in real life, is it hard and emotionally challenging for you to play parts like this? Because it's hard for me to like watch, if that sounds strange.
No, I get it. Yeah, no, it is tough. I mean, it's therapeutic in a way too, but it is difficult because, you know, while none of these dynamics fortunately hit close to home for me, I understand where they come from and how they come about. So sometimes you take your work home with you, and sometimes, you know, once they yell cut, that's it. But, you know, sometimes you take your work home with you and it's heavy.
Yeah, man. So, well, you know, you have actually played a bunch of antagonists throughout your time. So do you go for these roles or do they find you? Because I find like they're usually the most interesting character.
You know, when I started working on Euphoria in 2020, I believe, when that first season launched, I got a lot more opportunities playing the kinds of roles that you hadn't seen me play prior to Euphoria. I just wasn't getting those roles. I think people saw me in a certain, you know, as a certain person, and that was it. And Euphoria opened up the door for, you know, some opportunity to change it up a little bit.
Well, speaking of certain roles, here I come with the obligatory Grey's Anatomy question, so please bear with me. I have to know, though, what's the craziest McSteamy fan encounter that you've ever had over the years? Because fans are still very passionate when it comes to Team McDreamy or McSteamy.
Please don't mention my letters to you.
I had a weird fan encounter at the Indianapolis 500 in 2007, and this woman ran up to me and latched onto me and said, "Take a picture, take a picture." And I was like smiling with her, thinking that she had like a friend or partner or significant other ready with a camera to take a picture.
Right.
And she grabbed onto me and she was just asking for anybody to take a picture. Any random person to take a picture.
It was a general request. Yeah.
It was a general request for any stranger to take a picture, and she wasn't letting go.
Before we let you go, we brought up your character in Euphoria earlier, so we have to ask. HBO recently announced season 3, congratulations, would start filming in January. Are you excited to see what's next for Cal Jacobs?
I'm always excited to see what's next for Cal Jacobs. Cal gets some very interesting stuff to play, and I'm sure Sam will come up with something amazing. We shall see, but I'm super excited that the show is back. I know there's a big appetite for it out there, and the fans are very loyal. So I'm happy that we're going to be able to bring another season to everyone.
We love it, man. Congrats again. Thanks for joining us today. DBL Nation, be sure to watch One Fast Move out August 8th on Prime Video. Thanks again, Eric.
Thank you.
We'll be right back, everybody.
Take it easy.
Welcome back to DBL. If you take a bath in the evening, you are cool. You also may want to switch it up. Get this, a new study has found that taking a bath in the morning is good for your muscles and helps your mind focus so you're ready for the day. Would any of you take a morning bath?
Maybe. I think maybe on vacation.
Yeah.
Because if I take a bath in the morning, I'm like calling in like, hey guys, can you knock the show out? You know what I would say.
Or like he's having private Al bath time.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
But yes, on the week, maybe on a Sunday.
Okay.
Lazy Sunday.
I like to wind down with a bath.
I do too. I usually wind down, but maybe we're wrong. No matter what your morning routine, excuse me, it looks like you can get your bathtub in shape by calling Jacuzzi. They can help you do it the right way. Jacuzzi offers an unmatched, stress-free remodeling process. Just go ahead and call 1-800-996-0017 or visit jacuzzibathremodel.com. That's lovely. Bath, maybe a little lavender.
I feel like you're a Sunday bath girl.
I could be. I could become that. I feel like I'm living in my own filth. That's my only problem with that. We will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.